guys, we're live. This is a surprise again. I got started on this, and so it's a quiet afternoon, quiet Sunday afternoon, and I thought, well, we'll see who has any questions, or who I figure I can talk about it and then share this and post it. And hello, and then as you see it, if I don't answer your question, then you could ask it. Hello there. Oh, it's so good to see these faces. So I'll just jump right in. I have been working on this. I believe it has been a year and a half. So it took from making my little hexie flowers to piecing it together, and now I have the layers and I started quilting. And so I've got all my basket of goodies. I have had so many questions. And so I'm gonna try to answer even the ones, and I might have answered it on the comments from yesterday. But anyway, here we go. So the paper size. People ask, well, what size hexies are these? Every time I post it, they wanna know what the size is. I use the 1.5 inches. I've used the 1.5 inches for these hexies. The way you measure is across the top. So it's 1.5 inches. The hexie clubs through Strawberry Thief, they were doing 1-inch hexies and then 2-inch hexies. Mine was in between. So I these were the papers I already had, so that's what I started with. So I made up all my hexies. I started sewing them into flowers. And then, I don't know if you remember me like hanging them up on the wall. I had them across the bed. I had them everywhere. I've got pins stuck in me. Goodness gracious. Okay, so I've been sitting in pins and needles for a little bit sewing. Okay, the other thing I wanted to show you, I glue basted. So, and people have asked, well, what do you do with the papers? How do you get those out? As soon as you have stitched them all around, you have one now that is completely surrounded. You can pop out. I love this part. Can I just tell you, the part that I loved about this most with the glue, how many of you back in the day would take glue and Elmer's glue or glue and just rub it on your hand and then peel it off? I did that, and I think that's why I love doing this so much. You can peel that glue off. It's just, there's just something about that little tactile, the way it sounds. Hello, all of you joining, welcome, welcome. So then you just pop that out like that. And then when you sew around more, then once you have them all around, you can take these out. And I would just take them out as I go. Some people wait till the very end and pull them all out, and it is a chore. So I would try that as soon as I'm waving to all of you coming in, as soon as I would get them completely surrounded, I would start popping out the papers. And I just kept a basket and filled up the basket with all the papers. Yeah, so we've talked about the glue pen, the papers that I use. Keep refills. I know Robin Shapiro says this all the time with the Strawberry Thief, and I'm going to probably say her name 100 times. She always says, you do not want to run out of your glue stick refills. So make sure you have plenty on hand, because you don't want it to be when you wake up in the middle of the night, you're wanting to do some hexies and you've run out of glue. So keep those handy. The kind of needles that I'm using for the quilting. Now, when I was stitching them, she had recommended size 10 or 11 milliner's needles, and I was using the Jen Kingwell brand that she sells there. These she recommended for the quilting. You need to use the 50 weight thread, so you need a bigger needle. So you need a chenille. I don't know if I'm showing you this because I have my contacts in, not readers. Chenille size 26 needles, and the eye will be big enough for your thread. When you go to cut your thread to thread your needle, cut your thread at an angle, and it'll kind of point, it'll go through the eye of the needle better. That's just little tricks and tips that I'm learning as I go. I've used these scissors, the Karen K. Buckley, and I have the small ones for snipping, but I've just had these out because yesterday afternoon was when I I did it by hand. I didn't use a rotary cutter. I just put this all in my lap and I went around and I cut the edges. I cut off. So here's your hexagon. So the fold, they would come up and they would be, you know, jig-jag. I just cut it straight across. And I made sure, I like to do it where I have more control. It's just like the sewing machine, you know, it goes so fast. That rotary cutter can kind of take off. So I would cut and make sure I was not cutting through the seam because I didn't want them to split apart. So I cut it all by hand. I use these scissors. They're awesome. They're just wonderful. When I get to binding, this is what came in the mail from Strawberry Thief. I ordered plenty of binding, so when I get ready to bind it, I have this. It's just so pretty. There it is, upside down. I love that print. And there is some of the Liberty London in here that is that pattern, but it's a different colorway. The fabric is through Strawberry Thief. It is Tana Lawn Cotton, Liberty of London, which is what they sell. And it is the Liberty Organics bundles. So it was, and someone had said, I just love the patterns. They just look so old fashioned. And they were trying to do one and it looked too modern. I said, because I don't know if I'll get it all exactly right, but what my understanding is, some of these go back so far to the 30s and 40s, and so that some of them have been archived and pulled out and redone. And so like this one, when I look up at my grandmother's quilt, some of her fabrics look very much like this. So I loved this classics bundle of their Liberty Organics because of those old-fashioned things. I even loved having some black in there in her quilt. I keep pointing up there, like you can see it. I have it hanging on the railing over at the top of the stairs, and there were some black patches in. It's a 9-patch is the quilt that she hand stitched. Okay, so we have the fabric and the papers and the glue pen and the thread and the needles, the binding, the bias binding, and then these little flips. I have been using little miniature clothespins, which I love. Those are cute, but these really are good. So these are nice little cute. And so they will grip when I put the binding around. They'll grip and hold down as far as I want to sew, because of course I'm going to do it by hand. So these will be wonderful. I got them all in their little bag. I got plenty of spools of thread, so I'll have plenty to work with. And then when it came to putting it together, now I have my topper finished. Get all this out of the way. And I want to know how am I going to wrangle this all together. So what I did was I purchased unbleached muslin, okay, just at the craft store, and it's really soft. I laid that out on the bed, and then I had my layer of natural cotton batting. Now I know in Australia, Robin, they have something else that they offer, and it's wonderful. And she was showing when she was quilting how easy it rolls up, and you can work with it as you're quilting. I have loved this, and that was just my preference. So and then I put the topper on top. Then I took I have a cushion with pins, little straight pins, and I'll show you what I use. I know a lot of people use safety pins, but I use these with just a little white head. And I started in the center and started just sticking the straight pins in. On a smaller quilt, I would have basted, but this is so big. I just didn't think. I thought, well, I'll just put pins in for now. And so we're doing it that way. So I have it pinned, and then work your way out with your pins, placing them, around. Then when you start to quilt, you quilt in the middle. So you find the middle, and it's a lot. Someone said, there is no easy way to do this. How do you wrangle that around? Hey there, Nicole. Hi. I just had to see who all is joining. Oh, It's so nice to have you here. So I just start in the middle, and of course then the cat wants to get up under the quilt. So I let the cat get up under the quilt, and then I begin. The thing I'm really glad I learned, I saw Nicole do, Nicole, I got Nicole on the brain, that I watched Robin do the way she did it, was she made a knot at the end of her thread, and she went into a hexie, and the knot was not huge. You can't make it real fat, just make a slight knot. She went into the hexie and went through the batting, and then came up into the corner of your hexie that you're going to stitch around. Now I'm stitching around each hexie. I know I've lost my mind, but that's what I'm going to do. Some people just go around maybe the flower, or here or there. I'm just going over each hexie. So you go in and you just tug a little bit, and it will pull that knot through that outer hexie and into the batting so that it catches. And then you're not, because look here on the back, you don't want, and I didn't know how this was going to work either, with this blush color thread. It's old-fashioned looking, kind of a dusty rose, or I don't know, it's just called blush. I think that's the name of it. I didn't know how it was, like, this was going to show, and it's going to show every mistake. And then I thought, you know what, if it's not perfection, it'll be all right, because that's the beauty of quilts. They're cozy, and you can see they're homemade, but look how I'm just kind of liking, it's showing a little bigger stitch on the back than what I'm making on the front. On the front, I've just got their little tiny, I do that rocking stitch, so I just catch a little bit at the top, and I go in and catch as much as as little as I can, but it's making, it's doing this design, and I'm kind of loving it. And someone made the comment today, they said, well, you should, or maybe they messaged me, and I said, it's good that you can see the hand stitches, that they're not all invisible, and it's not like they're trying to blend in to this. Like, that's as much an art form as the front. So, and can I just tell you, while you're working on it, and it's laying all over you, hi Elizabeth, when it's laying all over you, it is delicious. This fabric it's cool to the touch. It's soft. It's snuggly with the weight of it. Like it's going to be a dream of a blanket. And now it's not somebody said, well, what's the size of it? I do not know. I didn't measure it. It's big enough to sit on the sofa or sit on your big chair with your grandbabies snuggled up under you. And so that's how big it is. It's not big enough for a twin bed. It might be enough for a child's, like a baby bed, maybe. But I wanted just to make it like a big a mama lap blanket. And I've said it before, maybe some of you remember, my daughter-in-love is having a significant birthday this November. It's a milestone birthday, and so, which is deserving of something really special. And that those two little grandchildren of mine, she's their mommy, and they love snuggling up with her. I love that this will be for her either her morning time when she's having her coffee and she's just starting her day with her devotions, or her quiet time, or just her me time. And then as they wake up and they come and snuggle up under, that's what is driving me. That is what is my motivation. And then plus, I love this part of the journey of quilting. It is soothing. It took a little bit to get to this point because it's a little bit of work, and I've been really tired. Like, when am I going to I got to go get that fabric. I got to cut the things. So yesterday when the energy hit to get all the preparation done, now it's just leave it, pick it up before church, then go to church and come back, pick it up, have some coffee, chat a little bit, check my email messages. And you're snuggled up under a blanket the whole time you're quilting it. So it is a labor of love. It is, so beautiful and comfortable. It is, Elizabeth, I knew it was going to be delicious, but I had no idea just how much. So I can't wait to get it finished for her. But we've got 8 more school days left. and then I'll be able to do more on it, and then I'm going to take it with me when we go visit them this summer, and I'll be able to work on it there. And then, so when this project is finished, this is what's coming next. And y'all have been seeing some of the posts where I've been sharing. I'll share this. I think this one is my favorite. I think that is my favorite. So this is going to be a Happy Scrappy Grammy's quilt. So like a take on a grandmother's flower garden quilt, but using these. Usually you'd have like a yellow center pattern, no, colors, like a pink. No, that can't be right. You have your yellow, your floral pattern of all the same fabric, and then you have a solid color. I think that's the traditional. And then if you use white as your filler pieces, that signifies the picket fence. And then if you use green, or like I love that jadeite green, that's supposed to be like the grass that you walk through the garden. So that's the significance of the grandmother's flower garden. So this is 1, 2, 3. I love this one. 4. That Betsy is my favorite. And another Betsy. I love the yellow. 5, 6, 7, and then we're to the original. This is 8. This is the one that I made. Let me get this notification off there. There we go. This is the one that I made 2018, sitting there watching Escape to the Country and the British show. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I wanted to do EPP. And I had my papers from 2014, and I made this, and I didn't know what to do with it. So now it is going to be incorporated. Let's see, did you stitch it? Yes, I did I stitched all these by hand. This is the back. Now you can see how, when I was telling you on this one, that I could take that center paper out once I had these all stitched around. Well, with this one, when I had these all stitched around, I took out the center, and then when I cut these all around, I took these papers out. So that way, it keeps you having a supply of papers to keep, if you need to make more hexies, then you have plenty. They're not all hogging into, staying stashed into your hexie flowers. So I have 8 of these. I think I have 12 planned for the quilt. And then I think I'm going to use, for the white, I'll use this unbleached muslin for the white surrounding and to piece it together. And it'll be a lap quilt for me. It'll be a scrappy. So y'all follow my hashtags. I try to put all the information, speaking of hashtags, I try to put everything in there, like if it's the needles or the brand, or maybe, tag who made the thing, or who's like where I get all my notions, what kind of scissors, Karen K. Buckley. If it's in the picture or if it's in the video, I try to do a hashtag so you know what the product is, or where I got it, or what's the information, or what the size of the hexies. Again, they are 1.5 inch. And people, I know there are, most of the people who quilt I have found are very specific, and they want measurements, and they know exactly, and I just don't fit the profile, I think, for hexie quilting. And maybe that's why I love the scrappy, because it's just my, our daughter Tia said that would drive me nuts, because she said I would be obsessing over what pattern needs to go with what. So let me see. Good morning. Or I guess it's afternoon. Is it afternoon? I'm looking. There's no watch, but I'm going to look at my arm like there is. It is afternoon where we are in Tennessee. So wherever in the part of the world you are, maybe put where you're coming from, where you're watching from would be awesome. Yes, it is about time you want to snuggle yourself. Yes, and I know. I make them and then I give them away, But she really was excited over it. She loved it. She's like, can I put my name on the list and have one soon? And I thought, well, why don't you just take this one, and then I'll do the one that I really want to do. So we'll see if I get to hang on to it. I don't know. If I didn't love the process so much, And that's what I think, every step of it, I just love. Hey, Lisa Marie. I get distracted when I see your names, and I think about you, I see your faces. I think I love every step of it. I love every step of it, from the glue and cutting. That's like, I loved paper dolls. I've said this before. I love paper dolls and cut and paste and making things. And this is kind of like having that all together. I love the colors. I love the patterns. And I remember Robin Shapiro saying, because I always wanted just to have, like, I would have the whole blanket be pink, like this pink. And she said, a pretty, pretty quilt is pretty, pretty boring. So if you don't branch out and use some contrasting things, you can't highlight. It's like that's the art form, is the darks and lights and the contrast. And so I kind of went out of my comfort zone with some of these fabrics. It was not like I wasn't drawn right to it, but now that I'm seeing them all together, it's like the total is, oh, it's feeding me. So, okay, am I running too long? Kate from England. How are you? It is good to see you here as I'm reading and looking up and reading. Are there any questions? I'll look there and see if anybody has asked anything. Let's see. Oh, y'all are so sweet. I am just, I'm ready for the school year to come to a close because I'm very tired. I have a wave of energy that I think will get me through these last, like we have this week and then 3 days of the next week with students, and then we'll have those last 2 days as teachers to finish up. I'm ready to get to some creative things, and it's been a great year, but I feel like I've squeezed 2 years in together, 2 school years. I was in the class with the children with special needs at the beginning of the year, and then I made a shift after fall break to working with 6th graders in their math and English classes, and helping all the kids really, but some of them particularly needed help, and lots of meetings, lots and lots of meetings. So it is time to wind it down and to be able to get out in the garden and water the flowers. The roses are starting to bloom. The peonies, oh my goodness, their season is not long enough because they're just gorgeous. The wisteria is blooming. The daisies are getting ready to pop up. So all of that, it's just in time to begin the summer with all those beautiful things, and to have a good rest and a good break, and then go see those grandbabies. So I think that's all I have for you today. I just hope it inspires you to get started. I don't mind your questions at all. You message me, you ask things, I will tell you. If it's not right away, it will eventually come. I'll show you one more time, how I'm doing this. I know Robin Shapiro had shown a method of like making diagonal lines, stitching like big stitches, and I was going to do that, but I didn't think it really fit with this. Sorry, my hair. With this style, with what I was going for, but I really love that it is showing up back here. I remember thinking when I first started quilting, I was using regular thread, and I thought, why does it not look right? It doesn't look like the quilts that I know where the thread seemed heavier. I had no idea about heavier weights. So if y'all don't ever feel like ignorant or like, oh, I'm so stupid, why did I not know that? There is so much I've learned, and just by jumping in and doing. So if I can help you, if you have any questions and I can help you, you just let me know. Let me scroll back through here, make sure there's nothing real quick before we leave each other. All the hellos. I'm just so glad you've come and joined me. It's so great seeing you here. And I've got a little party to go to for one of my former students. It is her Sweet 16, and it is a surprise, and we can't wait to go and surprise her. Oh, hello. Let's see, my mom started a cathedral church window quilt years ago. She passed away. And I want to finish it. You will. So but give yourself some time, and when you feel like it's time to start on it and begin and pick it up, and do some research, check out some things, YouTube videos. You can Google anything in the search bar YouTube a stitch or a pattern or anything that you're working on, and get that figured out. And I know you can do it. And what an honor to honor her memory that will be. So you can do it. Anything else that anybody has, any questions? And once I'm off here, you feel free to message or add in the comments section, because I know we'll lose. That's why I wanted to read it out loud, because I know we'll lose it once this posts. I'll lose all the comments. So thank you for saying your hellos and waving and cheering me on as I'm going along. I love it. I love our community of stitchers and those that just love to see it. And it was me. That was me a long time. I was in the audience for a long time, watching other people do this and thinking, I don't even know how I would even begin to do that. Hello, sister friend. I didn't even know how I would begin. And it was just little baby steps. So take those little baby steps, and then you'll be making the bigger steps, and then you'll be running with the big dogs. And it's wonderful. It's a wonderful community. So anyway, I can help you, encourage you. I'm happy to do that. Okay, so go have a wonderful rest of your Sunday, or if you're in another part of the world and you're saying good night, sweet dreams. And we will talk soon next time. And I'm going to figure out how to end this without looking down and pulling the camera away and looking ridiculous.